another great edition of Mississippi Stories. I am your host, Marshall Ramsey, editor-at-large and editorial cartoonist of Mississippi Today. Now we're starting a special series of Mississippi Stories coming up for the August 19th date of the Mississippi Book Festival. Wait a minute, you tell me you've never been to the Mississippi Book Festival? Well, about 45,000 others have been. There's been 8 of them. It's going to be this August 19th. Folks, if you have not gone to the Mississippi Book Festival, it is truly one of Mississippi's crown jewels. It is wonderful. It celebrates what we do best, storytelling, and it's fantastic. So what we're going to do here on Mississippi Stories is we're going to feature some of the authors that you might be bumping into when you go visit the book festival. And of course, there'll be Author's Alley, so you can go buy books and get them signed and everything else. So anyway, very excited about this. This is a lot of fun. I think we're kicking off with a really kind of it's a book that kind of touched my heart when I read it, and I think it'll touch yours too. And before we get started, I want to say a quick thanks to the Mississippi Book Festival, who is sponsoring my newsletter for the next month. So, hey, thanks. I appreciate it. Y'all are friends. Y'all are kind. We love you. The book, of course, and I have to admit, when I saw the title, it jumped out at me. Sometimes a good title will sell a book, and it's called The Yorkie Who Sings at Midnight. And I'm very fortunate to have the author here with me right now. We got Janne Swearengen, and I learned how to pronounce your name by basically like you're cussing at your engine.
Right, exactly.
Swearengen.
Yeah, right, yep.
That's great. The Yorkie Who Sings at Midnight, and I got to learn a little bit about, I even have the mug right here. Angela is the Yorkie who sang at midnight, and she has an incredible story, and you did a really beautiful job catching it. And it's not a big book, but it's a powerful book, and it's got some wonderful illustrations in it. Caleb James,
Yes.
who was in high school,
Yes.
who can draw better than I can. Incredible artist.
He really is.
He did such a fine job on it.
Mhm.
And so, of course, I see you're representing
You bet.
on that a little bit. Well, before we dive too deep into Angela's life, let's dive a little bit into your life, because I think your backstory really lends, I can see how you would end up rescuing a dog that had been through some tough things and was old and geriatric, because sometimes in rescue places, the older dogs don't get rescued.
Right, they don't. It's hard for them to be rescued. I guess my biggest, longest experience as a career, and I don't ever think about it as a career, but more of a vocation, is working with nursing facilities, nursing homes, assisted living facilities. Worked at Mississippi Department of Health for years, working with trying to find and fix facilities that need help, and illegal personal care homes, etc. But then joined the University of Wisconsin in 1990. And became a part of a group that monitored nursing facilities that were in trouble. And we had a protocol to help them improve their quality assurance. So I've always had a soft spot for the elderly, and now that I am an elderly, then we would want to do more. And I've always been a dog lover. I've had dogs all my life, and it's the ones that nobody wants, the infirm, the old, the both infirm and old, behaviorally challenged, etc. So that's important, and that all played into Angela.
So I got to tell you really a true story. So when my boys were little, our third son was born, and we had a dog named Banjo, and Banjo was a good dog. He was a rescue, and our third child would wake up every 2 hours, and my wife was tired, and then Banjo started waking up every 2 hours, and I thought, wow, this dog has empathy. Nah, he had diabetes. And so I took him into the vet, and the vet's sitting there, and we're on there, and he's telling me everything. You got 2 choices. You can give him insulin, or I guess we could put him down. And I'm sitting there looking at my sons, and they're looking horrified. I'm thinking, wait a minute, I don't want my sons to put me down when I get older, I want them to take care of me. So anyway, Banjo, and now our new dog Pip has diabetes too, and so we give her the shot twice a day.
You do what you have to do.
But it sounds like I said, with your background and your compassion for people that are in need, and obviously, anybody's ever been into a good nursing home versus a bad one knows the difference on that. But at the end of the day, it's about caring about God's creatures and about humanity, and so it makes perfect sense that somehow Angela came into your life.
Absolutely. We've always had a soft spot for the least of these.
Yeah. So you had gotten into this habit of rescuing dogs, like you said, that were older, that were infirm, that probably were not going to be the first one chosen of the litter and everything else. You did have a dog at that time named Chihuahua.
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson. Okay, I love that. And he was a little bit grouchy.
He was.
He was a grouchy
still
boy.
is.
He still is.
He still is.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And but I'm amazed that he was very accepting of Angela.
He mostly got angry at my husband about 5:30 every night. I don't know why 5:30. Maybe something bad happened to him at that point in time.
Yeah.
But he just would growl at him at 9 o'clock at 5:30.
Tell us a little bit about Angela and her life, because like I said, that's a hard chapter to read. Was really the abuse that she went through.
Yeah, Angela was used as a breeder
Yeah.
to make a lot of puppies that the person could sell for a lot of money, and wound up in a house with a hoarding house. You
Yeah.
know, where there were like 35 or 40 dogs being kept.
Oh wow!
And they all got sick. They never were fed right. And you know, in the book, she would have to eat off the floor. She had mammary gland tumors, which turned out to be very bad from being overbred,
Yeah.
and had blind in one eye. She called it a cracker jack. She had a cracker jack in her eye, and she was deaf in one ear.
Yeah. What is a cracker jack? That's a term I'd never heard of. That.
Cataract.
Oh, it's a cataract.
Cataract.
Okay.
She called it a cracker jack. you know,
Okay.
but we kind of figured it out. But she had such a personality
Yeah.
for what she had been through. And I hope the book reflects this. She was the most forgiving, loving dog I've ever seen.
Wow.
To have gone through the tortures and the hunger, the diseases. She had heartworms too.
Yeah, heartworms is so hard, because even the
gosh.
treatment is hard on them
It
too.
is very hard on her,
Yeah.
but she sailed through everything, and she was just amazing to be so mistreated and so not cared for all these years, at least 12.
Yeah.
She had never been on grass before. She didn't know what to do.
Really. What
So
was that like when she got her paws on that?
I
And
was
you
like,
write about it in
yeah,
the
it's
book.
just like what's this? I don't know whether I'm supposed to move or not, you know.
Yeah.
And but she learned, and I think when she taught herself to sing is when the recovery began.
Yeah.
And she sang her way through a lot of stuff. So,
Wow.
yeah.
When you mean sing, she would howl?
She would. I noticed right after we got her, she had a little donut bed by my bed. She couldn't sleep on the bed because of her vision was so poor. I didn't want her to fall off
Yeah.
on the floor. So she would get in that little bed, and between 12 and midnight and 4 in the morning, I would hear this noise like, and I'd get up and I'd look around, what's going on? Nothing. Go back to sleep. A few minutes later, so I started recording it. And so I have a little recording of her singing. I call it Songs in the Key of Angela.
Oh.
And it's quite interesting. I mean, you know, she's not really singing, but it certainly did make a good story. So I wrote a little thing on Facebook and published it on Facebook, a little essay, and the Yorkie who sings at midnight. And somebody, one of my Facebook friends, said, "You need to turn this into a book."
Yeah.
And I thought, gosh, I've never written a book in my life, but I started it, and it happened.
I love one of the things I love about the book is that it tells Angela's story from different viewpoints.
Right.
It's not just her viewpoint
No,
on that.
yeah.
And it's from your viewpoint, it's from, of course, Mike Tyson's viewpoint, which that had to be a pretty big shock for him too. You know, he was obviously the king of the roost.
He was indeed, yeah.
He probably, always will be.
Yeah, he's kind of the head dog. But now we have two more. And there's Puck, which came to us as a hairless 2-pound Yorkie Chihuahua with an attitude and skin infections. And then Calamity Jane, who was used by a breeder and discarded. So she's a little timid, but she's getting better.
She's getting better a little bit. Talk about the process. Like I said, how did you end up meeting Angela, and how did she end up being part of your life?
Angela was being fostered by a foster parent. We talk about the importance of fostering and adoption in the book.
Yeah, foster folks with dogs and animals have pretty big halos, don't they?
They actually do. You know, we talk about the two types of fosters: those who foster and get them ready to go meet a new family and are excited about that, and then they run in and call and say, "Can I foster somebody else?" And then the other fosters they foster the dog, get them ready for a new home, all that kind of stuff, and then somebody calls and wants to adopt them, and they say, "Well, that's my dog."
Oh yeah.
They're failed fosters, and I'm one of those.
Yeah. I would have a feeling that the lovely Mrs. Ramsey would be that way too. We would have to build onto our house because we have 1,900 animals on that.
It's easy to do.
It is though, but like I said, and you know, I don't know if I've mentioned, we were talking a little bit before we started interviewing, you know, and I've had a couple of rescues in our long marriage, and they're the most grateful animals.
They are.
They know.
They do.
They just know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, one of the chapters in the book is called "To Love Forward," to love somebody forward.
Yeah.
And that's what Angela was able to do. I mean, instead of meeting a negative with a negative and having, you know, being mean or scared or you know, although scared is not necessarily a negative, she just loved. I mean, she was the most loving, and it just taught me a huge lesson. She was the dog that changed my life. She was at Doc Sylvia Stewart, who had the Monroe Street Clinic.
Who, by the way, was a rock star.
Absolutely.
I mean, she was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was indeed. So the book is dedicated to her, and portions of the book go, the proceeds of the book go to the Animal Rescue Fund of Mississippi, because that's where she was. That's where the hoarders. That's where all the dogs were rescued, pretty much too.
Oh wow.
And they were altered. They had skin issues, ear issues, fleas all over. It was just dreadful. But Angela was just amazing. She came into our home. She was a little bit scared the first day, but you know what? She shook her head out and spiked her hair out like she liked to do, rubbed her head on the floor so get her hair all spiky like Phyllis Diller, and took over.
Yeah.
You know, and she was the star. I mean, she was amazing.
I'm going to see if I can hold up, and it may be a little bit hard, but some of the illustrations that Caleb did of Evangeline, there was one of her with her spiky hair. Yeah, there it is right there. So I'll get that in pretty close on that.
And you might be able to see her Cracker Jack too.
Yeah, her Cracker. That's right. She's got her one Cracker Jack on that. So that, like you said though, she changed your life. She showed. She
did, and she actually. We teamed up. We called ourselves Team Jangela.
Yeah.
And we teamed up and went to several nursing homes and read to the residents.
Really?
Which was a blast. It was so much, and they just absolutely adored her, and she adored them. A lot of times dogs are a little bit scared of being approached, but not Angela. I mean, she wanted to be petted, and everybody wanted to hold her. And I told folks, I said, look, she's very fragile. I would love for you to hold her, but I will let you pet her. I mean, I put her down there and let them pet her. And I've got some beautiful shots of people loving on her and wanting to hear more. And that was a blessing. It was an absolute blessing.
What's beautiful though is that she lives on.
She does.
She does. And like I said, I mean, how old does a Yorkie normally live?
Yorkies are small dogs actually, so they usually live a pretty good while. Angela lived until we got her when she was about 12 or 13, and she lived until 2022 when she had metastatic cancer and passed away. We knew when it was her time. She let us know, and so we walked her across the bridge, and I still think about her.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I mean, that was kind of the goal of this interview is to not make Jen cry.
Well,
but we've already done. We have tissue right here if you need it, so let me know. But she's very sweet. So like you said, but you've got new pups, and I always think when you lose a pup like that, you know, there's this hole in your heart.
Absolutely.
And then you know another one comes along and works really hard to fill it.
Yeah. You know, there are a lot of folks that again, this is a very divided population. When somebody loses a dog that they've cherished for years, some people say, I can't ever do that again. I'll never get another dog. And we're just the opposite. You know, we lose one we love, like Angela. Next thing we're looking for is who else can we get that we can give a home to? Because you know, sooner or later, like I said in the book, somebody's going to have to adopt me.
Yeah, that's right.
Won't be long.
That I know. I'm starting to feel that way myself, so I understand on that a little bit. But you know, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, people always. I one time said to my wife, I was like, you know, you're always really glad to see Pip when you walk in every day. And she said, because she greets me a lot nicer than you do. I said, well, that's a good point. But that's the thing. And the only thing I can say that's probably wrong with the dog is that they don't live long enough.
That's true.
You know, on that. So when you decided to do the book, obviously you had some help. Talk a little bit about the process.
Well, the process was, like I said, I'd never written a book before in my life, but it just absolutely, I got together with Susan Marquez, who is the president of
Susan's great, yeah.
Mississippi Writers Guild. And I shared the essay with her, and I shared the idea. And I said, do you think that I can make this into a book? And she said, well, yeah, let me think about it, and I'll send you some ideas. And we had lunch and party company, came home, and about midnight that night, it came to me. Let's talk about Angela through Angela's eyes and everybody else that's been involved with her. And I started writing.
Yeah.
And about 4 o'clock that morning, 5 o'clock that morning, I was finished. And that's what I sent to Susan. Mm-hmm. And oddly enough, she had told me, sent me an email, and he said exactly the same thing that I was doing. So I guess our minds collaborated during the night, because she said, why don't you tell it from Angela's point of view and others, and let's go with that. And so that's exactly, so I gave her the manuscript, she edited it, and the rest is history. I got it published, and I've had a ball. My promotional activity has been John Grisham approach,
mm-hmm.
out of the trunk
of the car. Exactly. I mean, you're not truly an author if you don't have a box of books in the car.
I do, yeah.
And definitely that. So are you excited about the book festival?
I am thrilled about the book festival. Caleb's going to be there. We're going to be there in Author's Alley. I've got this great banner that I wrote a grant for from the Mississippi Arts Commission, and we are just ready.
Good. What time are you going to be out there?
As soon as I can.
Okay.
And I got short sleeve t-shirts coming.
Oh, yeah.
In the August heat,
it gets a little toasty. I can warn you on that one a little bit.
But I'm excited.
I'm moderating a panel, and I usually dress kind of like what I dress now. And I remember one year I'm sitting out there doing a book signing wearing this, my jacket. Uh-huh. And I get done, I'm just like, anybody get lighter fluid? I'm just going to burn my jacket right here. Yeah. It's on that. But I'm really thrilled on that. And I think probably a good way to wrap up. But like I said, the book right here, this once again, the Yorkie Who Sings at Midnight. Where can folks find it?
You can find it at Lemuria.
In Lemuria,
yeah,
the book festival.
At the book festival. Square Books Jr. has copies of it.
Nice.
And if push comes to shove, Amazon.
And like you said, a portion of the proceeds go to help ARF. Yep. Yeah, which they do great work, and they have for a long time, because they literally, I remember they founded right after Katrina.
After Katrina.
Yes. So, I'm just glad to meet you. This is wonderful.
Me too. I'm glad to meet you.
Yeah, no, this has been a real pleasure, and I really enjoyed the book. I think it's beautiful and it's sweet, but it's also good. I learned a lot about fostering and about that part.
It's a call to action book as well.
Yeah, it's a call to action book on that a little bit. And I think a good way to end this interview, you have Angela's prayer here that's in my lap, and here it is right here. I'm just gonna go and see it in a second. And I'm going to read it to you because you said you couldn't read it.
I can't read it.
You couldn't read. Oh yeah, and I do have my Angela mug too, which I'm pretty proud of also. And I won't tell Pip that this isn't her, because she gets jealous easily. So very good. So this is Angela's prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep and pray to dog this home to keep. My special bowl so I can eat, and comfy bed so soft and sweet. My one good eye so I can see my big backyard where I roam free. Keep my heartbeats always strong so I can share my midnight song. Help me tell my tale of how you snatched me from then and put me in now. Please let me stay here as long as forever. I won't disappoint. You, I promise, not ever. Amen. I love that. And I'll tell you what I do like about her story is the fact that I think even on a human term too, if anybody's going through tough times, Angela's story is one of hope.
Yep.
And one that how the love of somebody else can change your life.
Yep, hope and reconciliation.
And you changed her life.
And she changed mine.
Yeah, she definitely did.
Okay.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Jen, this has been a pleasure.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a pleasure for me too.
It's been wonderful. And thank you for watching. Like I said, we're going to continue these author interviews until August 19th. That is, of course, the day of the Mississippi Book Festival. I hope you come say hi. It's a great event. It's a good chance for you to be able to get to meet your favorite authors, or you can even meet someone like me as well. And it's a chance for all of those of you who love books and love storytelling to come and celebrate what Mississippi does best. And also, thank you for watching Mississippi Stories. We're going to continue with these. You can always go back and watch past episodes at MississippiToday.org and check out our great coverage and maybe even a few cartoons as well. Hey, I'm Marshall Ramsey. I will see you next time. This is Mississippi Stories. Take care. Thank you for watching this episode of Mississippi Stories. Make sure to subscribe to the Mississippi Today YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified every time a new video uploads.